Captain America.
Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5 video. There were so many Easter eggs and obviously some big setups and a genuine post-credit scene. They're doing the WandaVision thing where the last couple of episodes each have a post-credit scene. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. I'll also be doing episode videos for Loki, which is going to start after the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale in June. So I'll remind everybody about that in the next couple of weeks. Careful for spoilers if you have not seen the episode yet, because there were some really big reveals. So we'll just start at the beginning of the episode and I'll number these as we go along, talking about big WTF moments and Easter eggs as we go along. Starting with the title of the episode, which was Truth. So some of you may have read the Isiah Bradley origin story comic book. It's called Captain America, Red, White, and Black, Truth. And it basically tells the story that Isiah Bradley told to Falcon during the episode. It's pretty accurate to the comics, but they kind of do the Cliff Notes version. Like, I was a little disappointed they didn't do full-blown flashbacks with his character, but it was a great scene nonetheless. They've only changed a couple minor things about the Isiah Bradley character from the comics, so I'll explain that when we get to that part of the episode. But the actual episode starts with John Walker directly after the events of him killing that Flag Smasher with all the camera phones, people recording him, and it seems like he just bolted out of the square to get away from all those phones. He has all these flashbacks to Lamar from before the mission, telling him not to go into the building yet, cursing himself for not listening, blaming Lamar's death a little bit on himself. He rests his head on the shield, and it seems like he's recognized what he does for a second. Like, for a moment, he's just sort of filled with all this regret and this pain and grief over Lamar's death. There's this really sad soundtrack playing over all these scenes. Like, you really do feel for him for a second. But then, sort of a funny turn, like on a dime, he just turns like, well, back to duty. Like, he just wipes it all away. Nope, that's in the past. Fully compartmentalized. There are also repeated shots of the blood on the shield, which is still dripping down just to show you how fresh this all is. Then when Falcon and Winter Soldier come running in, you could just sense for a moment like he's just completely past it. Like, okay guys, let's plan what we're gonna do next. We need to go after Carly. And Falcon has to stop him dead in his tracks like, no dude, you need to chill and give us the shield back. Nobody else needs to get hurt. Remember, Falcon was a grief counselor. He has this really nice talk with Winter Soldier towards the end of the episode, telling him about the right way that he needs to be making amends using that list of his that we saw earlier in the series. Obviously, that was all set up for Yori's arc and him finding out about his dead son that Winter Soldier killed, so I'll talk about that in a second too. But obviously we knew where this was all headed. It's all just building up to them double-teaming John Walker when he just completely goes over the edge. It's as if you're watching a giant car crash play out in slow motion as John Walker kind of realizes what's happening. Oh, so that's how it is. He goes from zero to full Hulk out mode on a dime. It's almost funny if it weren't so tragic what was happening here. When Winter Soldier tries to tell him that he knows from experience it doesn't end well going down the dark side that way, he's trying to tell him about his time as Winter Soldier as an assassin. Like, that will not end well for you. Of course, John Walker denies it all. I'm nothing like you, but they keep showing you the bloody shield. It's still dripping blood. Bucky's able to get the shield from him for a hot second, just another subtle reference to Bucky being Captain America in the comics for a stretch after Steve Rogers was. There have been a bunch of times in the series where both Winter Soldier and Falcon have used the shield. Obviously, it's all about Falcon becoming the next Captain America and him fully wielding the shield, but they're just playing with that idea. Like, Bucky has used the shield in the comics a lot too. The fight does remind me a little bit of the fight from Captain America Civil War, where Bucky and Captain America are tag-teaming Iron Man. I guess you could think of Falcon as being the person in the Iron Man suit, but obviously the dynamics are very different. The context is very different for this fight than the Captain America Civil War fight. Because John Walker has taken the Super Soldier Serum, all of his blows land way harder. I think they're able to have a little bit more fun with the fight choreography too, because you have two super soldiers, because obviously Bucky is a super soldier as well. He is able to disable Winter Soldier's arm just a little bit. I think that's also kind of foreshadowing for whatever eventual battle they'll have during the finale, because obviously this isn't going to be the last time they'll fight John Walker. They just want to make it seem like Bucky isn't invincible against John Walker. Like, the Wakandans, of course you would expect them to know how to disable a vibranium weapon that they themselves created. But they want to make it seem like John Walker is just as capable of a fighter, and now that he's as strong as Bucky, he can match him blow for blow. Then he almost straight up kills Falcon, the same way that he killed that Flag Smasher until Bucky's able to stop him. He's yelling like a crazy man, "I am Captain America," while he rips Falcon's wings off. Obviously, that's all foreshadowing for the big payoff with his new Wakandan vibranium suit. I'll talk about that in a second too. And everyone's kind of disappointed they didn't show you what's in the briefcase. What's in the box? Show me what's in the box. Yes, we all know exactly what's in that box. But it's almost hilarious how crazy John Walker has gone. He's full-blown crazy town. I would say he even sounds crazier than Wanda did during WandaVision, and she went full-blown crazy. Then the two of them literally have to pry it right off of his arm. They're only able to get it off by breaking his arm, and he's screaming the whole time in rage, like, "How dare you try to do this to me? I am Captain America." Bucky then drops the shield down next to Falcon, gives him that knowing look like, "Here, dude. Here's the shield, it's your responsibility, take the damn shield." Anthony Mackie was great during the episode, but I really loved his reaction in this moment too. Like, he touches the blood on the shield like he's just horrified, like, how could it have come to this? Later, after things chill out just a little bit, Falcon claims that Carly's bolted. We don't find out till later that she's actually gone to New York City, like she's literally sitting in New York City getting ready for their big attack. Don't worry, we'll talk about the big Sharon Carter twist with Batroc the Leaper in a second, because that was a big twist. They set up the plotline with the GRC rounding up all the refugees that they talk about at the end of the episode. They're basically going to deport them en masse. That's what this big vote is all about. Then as Bucky takes off to find Zemo, Torres shows up. You also notice that Falcon has cleaned the blood off of Captain America's shield. He says that the storyline with the US military basically taking John Walker to task, stripping him of the Captain America name. But they also set up the whole idea of Falcon's new suit. Like, he tells him what happened here, and he doesn't reveal what John Walker did, which I think might wind up biting him in the ass later. Like, it sounds like Falcon didn't fully report John Walker completely going off the rails the way he did, almost killing him in that fight. The way they explain it later in the episode, during his trial, the only reason why they're stripping John Walker of the Captain America name is just because of the bad PR that he created by killing that Flag Smasher in public, or at least by getting caught doing it in public. But the whole idea with having John Walker destroy his last Falcon suit is to give him a logical reason to need another one, a replacement, that probably just happens to look like the Captain America version of the Falcon suit that he got when he became Captain America in the comics. Also, when he tells Torres to keep the wings, like he doesn't want them back, it's also a reference to Torres being the next version of Falcon, taking up that name when Falcon became Captain America in the comics. Then we go back to Washington, D.C., and it's actually the same military official, or the same government official, who Falcon gave the shield back to in episode 1, and who unveiled John Walker as the next Captain America, who basically strips him of the title and all of his military rank and benefits. They basically take the military away from him. Like, his entire life has been all about the military, doing what he's told, being this good soldier, and they basically just kind of yank that back because, as Julia Louis-Dreyfus explains, I'll explain her character in a second, because he got caught killing the Flag Smasher in public. Otherwise, they probably would have given him a medal had he killed all of them. Like, they wouldn't have cared at all. Like, "Oh, this is so wonderful. Thank you for cleaning up this problem." It's just that he got caught doing it in public, and it became this big international PR incident. But the whole idea is that they're basically telling him, the only reason we're not throwing you in jail for what you did is because you were so decorated as a hero before. And, later they kind of pay that off when he's forging his new Captain America shield. He takes his highest honor, his Medal of Honor, and embeds it in the new version of the shield that he's making. This is basically him going from being Captain America to being US Agent, like the super patriot character in the comics. They've been foreshadowing this turn through the entire series, but I think we all expected him to be a version of US Agent from the comics, who was just a very, very dark character compared to Steve Rogers, and was actually kind of a Captain America villain for a little while too. But then we get our big mega cameo scene. It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who introduces herself as Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, who is Madame Hydra from the comics. But originally, she was a Russian sleeper agent who joined S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury early on in her career, but she was this Russian sleeper agent the whole time. She went on to become one of the leaders within S.H.I.E.L.D.'s structure, then wound up infiltrating Hydra later as part of a secret plot to betray Hydra to Leviathan. She does come from the classic Captain America stories in Strange Tales, but she doesn't have any special powers. She's just like a Black Widow-style character, a little bit like Baron Zemo's character as well. Just very good at manipulating other people, very good at spy trade. I also kind of think now that she is the power broker character, even though there's even more strong evidence for Sharon Carter possibly being the power broker. I'll talk about that in a second too, because Sharon Carter does kind of seem like she's gone dark and she's playing both sides, But Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is the only one who genuinely feels like a villain character hiding in broad daylight. She mysteriously knows everything about him taking the super soldier serum, what happened with the Flag Smashers, as if she's been watching this all play out the entire time since the beginning of the series. When she says, "Don't worry, I know you took the serum, it's one of the best decisions you ever made, it's made you very attractive to quote-unquote some people." What she means by some people is she's talking about the power broker, probably because she is the power broker herself, or at least there's strong evidence that she could be the power broker. It just feels like they wouldn't cast such a big, notable actor in a role like this unless there was going to be an even bigger twist in the finale. I think this is all going to wind up dovetailing with Sharon Carter's storyline, but they're not going to resolve a lot of that till the finale. Like, there will be some connection between Sharon Carter's character and Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, the Contessa. Then she says the best decision he's going to make is just answer the phone when she calls him. There's a bunch of trailer footage from next week's episode. I'll talk about that when I do another trailer video for the finale, but it seems like she's going to be the one to activate him against the Flag Smashers. She also makes that clever reference about Captain America's shield technically not belonging to the US government. It's a bit of a gray area. What she means is that they probably acquired it through really shady means back during World War II, or Howard Stark acquired it for the government through very shady means. Kind of implying that it was stolen from Wakanda, so technically the shield belongs to the Wakandans, not to the US government. But I believe within the MCU, the way they're explaining her character is that she's just a powerful figure inside the government, probably connections to the military, the Weapons Plus program, because of the super soldier serum, because she seems to know so much about it, Dr. Nagel, and the power broker, probably on the slide, because she might wind up being the power broker herself. I also love the funny reaction to the business card, like, what is this? There's nothing on here, it's just a regular card. Then, as we all expected, Winter Soldier finds Zemo at the Sokovian Memorial, thinking about his family. He claims he's not going to try and kill Winter Soldier anymore, like there's no bad blood between them. But the way their talk goes down, when he says that they're going to do things their way, Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think Zemo expected Winter Soldier to kill him. Like, okay, well, fine then, this is the way it was supposed to end anyway. Like, he's prepared to die. But when he reveals that he took the bullets out of the gun, it's just meant to show you that he's beaten his programming. Like, he's trying to tell Zemo, I am not the Winter Soldier anymore. We find out that he's actually called in the Wakandans and is handing him over. Then the Wakandans, Io, tell us that they're taking him to the raft. This will obviously make a lot of you comic book fans really excited because you know Thunderbolt Ross controls the raft. That's like his home base now. Obviously, this is all kinds of foreshadowing for Thunderbolts. Hopefully, there'll be some sort of post-credit scene in the finale to really set this up. But the whole idea is that Thunderbolt Ross keeps all the biggest supervillains in the MCU inside the raft, where no other prison would be able to hold them normally. So hopefully when we eventually see a Thunderbolts Disney Plus series, that will be where their home base is, because Thunderbolt Ross wouldn't want the rest of the world finding out of the team's existence, and because between missions, they just have to go back to their cells. The whole idea of the Thunderbolts is they just get some of the time cut off of their sentence. And most of the Thunderbolts characters have done such terrible things that they're serving multiple life sentences. So even if they completed a couple missions, they'd still be sitting in prison for a long, long time. They told us a long time ago that Falcon and Winter Soldier series was helping set up Thunderbolts, so obviously this big twist isn't a huge surprise. It was just a question of how they were going to foreshadow Thunderbolts. Really expecting them to put John Walker on the team because he is a super soldier, so he does have some superpowers, and he's definitely on the outs with the US military now. Then when Bucky asks Io for the favor, that's obviously the big setup for Falcon to get a new vibranium Falcon suit that looks like his Captain America comic book suit. I also kind of love Io's interaction with Bucky here too. She tells him that he'd be better off making himself scarce in Wakanda till all this blows over, meaning don't go showing your face around in public back in Wakanda anytime soon, because they're all still a little bit salty that he helped Zemo break out of prison. Black Panther, not super happy about that. That dude killed my father, how dare you break him out of prison? But she's also telling him in so many words that he does still have a home in Wakanda. He's still welcome there eventually after this kind of blows over, which might be a teaser for potential Winter Soldier cameo in Black Panther 2. I'm also kind of hoping that Bucky winds up showing up on the Black Panther Disney Plus series that they announced that they're doing next year. I don't know exactly when they're going to start filming or which characters they're going to use, but there will be a Black Panther spin-off series on Disney Plus. Then Falcon goes back to Isaiah Bradley's to get the full backstory on what happened to him back in the 1950s around the Korean War with his super soldier serum. And like I said, it's basically them doing that Captain America Red, White, and Black Truth comic book story. Isiah Bradley references the Red Tails, 332, that's the Tuskegee Airmen, a group of black pilots from World War II. That's actually real world history that he's talking about. George Lucas even made a movie about them called Red Tails, starring former roadie Terrence Howard from the first Iron Man movie. Falcon wants to know why Isiah Bradley didn't just become the next version of Captain America because he was a super soldier, and he's more optimistic about it, but Isiah Bradley basically explains that they would not accept him, would not allow him to be Captain America back then. Then he explains the full story of the super soldier program at that time, the Weapons Plus program. He says they tested a bunch of different versions of the super soldier serum on a squad of black soldiers that he was part of. Then they would send them out on missions just to see what would happen, to see if the serums would work. Some of the participants wound up dying, some had severe side effects, some of them went crazy. Like he says, most of the other versions of the serum were unstable. But for some reason, it worked in him, and they never quite found out why. Then during one of their missions, a bunch of the test subjects got captured. The military commanders of the time just wanted to bomb the whole POW camp to destroy all evidence that the super soldier program existed, what they were doing to them. Isiah Bradley pulled a Steve Rogers Captain America, went rogue to go save all their lives, brought them back, but turns out they wound up dying from the side effects of the serum later anyway. That's when they locked up Isiah Bradley and just continued to test him to try and find out why the serum worked on him. The scars that he was showing Falcon, even that looked really horrific, that's basically all the marks from the test that they performed on him. But a lot of you probably sense the Easter egg here, so obviously him saving his squad mates is meant to be a very dark parallel for Steve Rogers in the first Captain America movie, breaking away from his regular duties, going rogue to save all the soldiers in the POW camp during World War II, including the Howling Commandos. When he brought them back, he was celebrated as a hero, but when Isiah Bradley did the same thing during the Korean War, they locked him up as a criminal. But about 30 years later, into the 1980s, there was a nurse at the facility where he was being tested and held who took pity on him, who basically helped him fake his death using paperwork, gave him all of his wife's letters, and then basically helped him escape. When Falcon tries to get him to go public, like, you could tell people about your story, he doesn't believe him. He's like, no, they would kill me on the spot to prevent my story from getting out. When Falcon says he knows people that could help, he's talking about the other Avengers characters who are still alive. Early theory, when Falcon becomes the next Captain America, eventually he'll get justice for Isiah Bradley, and they'll give Isiah Bradley a special section inside this exhibit next to all the Steve Rogers Captain America stuff. You notice when Falcon goes to call his sister too to tell her that he's coming home with Captain America's shield, you see the wallpaper on his phone there, it's a little kid with his dad. That's probably Falcon as a child with his father, because he references his father a lot when they talk about the family boat. There's a whole storyline with them fixing the boat up. They actually use the boat as a metaphor for Captain America's shield and the Captain America name, because it's all about his sister eventually coming around and not wanting to get rid of the boat. Like, no, we need to keep this as part of our legacy. It's an important part of our history we can't get rid of. It's basically the same arc for Falcon during the episode. Falcon says the Captain America name, the shield is very complicated, the history is very complicated, but he doesn't want to run from that anymore. They have some really solid montages. I love it when Bucky shows up and they have some of that buddy cop energy. He shows up as if he's a delivery boy. Like, I'm just here to deliver this special vibranium suit that the Wakandans gave me. Just sign for it and I'll be on my way. You find out that Bucky is actually a pretty decent mechanic. Probably learned it during World War II. We also see John Walker meet with Battlestar with Lamar's family during this period. He also kind of lies about the Flag Smasher attack. Yes, I killed the man who killed your son. Technically, that isn't true. Carly is the person who killed Lamar. And I think the whole idea with him walking past that Captain America poster, like Cap is back, seeing it after he's been stripped of the title, is just further cementing the idea that he believes he is Captain America. I am Captain America. And that's why he forges himself another shield. But then we get that really crazy Sharon Carter scene back in Madripoor. I'm not exactly sure what this painting is, but it's just meant to be commentary on the actual plot of the episode. She reveals that she got Batroc the Leaper out of prison in Algeria, where Falcon took him down during episode 1, and reveals that she was the person who hired him for that job that he was on to capture that military personnel when Falcon took him down in the first place. It's not really clear why she wanted that person captured. It probably had something to do with her illicit business that she's been conducting. They raise more questions than they answer during this episode. But at the end of the episode, we find out that she's actually hired Batroc to actually arm the Flag Smashers for their attack on the GRC. Now, even though it makes her seem kind of like a villain, I think she's actually just playing four-dimensional chess, and she just wants to get at the GRC. Like, it's all part of her agenda that's separate from what's happening with Falcon and Winter Soldier. And when Batroc said that he's there to kill the Falcon, it's not that Sharon Carter wants the Falcon dead. She probably just told him that he could get his revenge as a way to get him to do what she wanted. Like, she's manipulating Batroc herself. I think it's all just meant to be a big misdirect, and she's working some long con. But then back at Falcon's the next morning, Bucky wakes up on the couch seeing his nephews, Falcon's nephews, playing with Captain America's shield, obviously just foreshadowing Falcon training with it later and becoming the next Captain America. Then even though this is all about Falcon training with the shield, there's this big moment of Bucky sort of working through a lot of his PTSD and explaining himself to Falcon, like why this means so much to him, why he's making such a big deal about the shield, saying that it basically represents his family. It's like the last thing he has left, that and Captain America's Book of Lists. The thing that makes him feel like a real person, grounded in reality, and not some cyborg killing machine like when he was the Winter Soldier. Then because Falcon's whole thing is that he was a grief counselor for the military for veterans, he gives Bucky this big talk about what he needs to do to find closure himself, helping other people that he wronged find closure. He says, I bet there's one person in your book that only you can help find closure, and obviously that's a big reference to Yori, helping him find closure over what happened to his son, revealing that he himself, Winter Soldier, killed him in the past. Falcon also says that Captain America is gone. He says Steve is gone, but that doesn't mean that he's dead. If you remember way back in episode 1 when they're walking through the Captain America exhibit, if you zoom in and enhance on some of these parts, I believe it says that Steve Rogers officially retired after the events of Avengers Endgame, which I believe dovetails with all the talk about him secretly being in space, like retiring to space, possibly Nick Fury's space station from Spider-Man Far From Home. We'll see if they pay that off by the finale. Hopefully there'll be some sort of tag scene that'll explain or clarify what's happened with old man Steve Rogers. Falcon also makes another Avengers Endgame reference, saying that Bucky crossing the names off his list, making amends, was him avenging the people that he killed when he was Winter Soldier. But Carly winds up activating all the Flag Smasher sleepers in the area just to show how much support for their cause is. Those are all the people that you see in the trailer footage wearing the masks infiltrating that GRC facility as it starts at the beginning of the episode. Then they sort of explain what's going on in New York City with this vote the GRC is enacting, the Patch Act. It's all about deporting the refugees, and they just want to make it seem like the other members of the council at least are trying to care for the welfare of these people. And this one government official, the person who was behind all the Captain America government stuff, doesn't care about them at all and just wants to blow past this. Like, do we even need to vote on this? We have troops in place. We can get rid of them right now. And right on cue, the Flag Smashers enact their attack. Obviously, that'll play out during the finale. But we jump back to Falcon at his home, opening the vibranium suit, but they pull a Pulp Fiction and hold the reveal till the finale. Pretty predictable. Like, you see a little bit of white there. Obviously, like I said, it's probably a version of his Captain America suit from the comics. Then we get that big post-credit scene with John Walker forging himself a new Captain America shield, going full US agent. Now, he doesn't have extra vibranium, so that is just a regular metal shield. But everybody let me know in the comments, post all your theories about Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Contessa character. Do you think that she's really the power broker and all the Sharon Carter stuff is just big misdirection? And what kind of Thunderbolts teasers do you think we'll see in the finale? Post all your predictions for the way you think they're going to end the series, what kind of post-credit scenes you think we'll see. I'll do a trailer video for the finale next, but my full Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 6 video will post next Friday just like normal. Then I'll start doing some more Loki bonus videos. There'll be more Loki footage and trailers in the next couple of weeks too. Everyone click here for all my Falcon and Winter Soldier episode videos, and click here for that brand new Marvel Loki trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys tonight.